Blog Talk Radio.
Sports City, we're back. The Brunch is in session. Let's go. Okay, Sports City, man. You already know what time it is. The calling number is 929-477-2759. We got you at least for the next hour or so here in the kitchen. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with Sports City. I don't even know how to, get into this show. Been out of the kitchen for a little bit, trying to knock some of the rust off. But the crazy part is it's like Christmas. Well, at least the end of summer going into fall, Christmas, and the classics are all here. We had college football open up a week or so ago, and everybody basically got their games in this weekend, and now we're at the kickoff show season right now for the Brunch for the NFL 2020 season. So I'm just happy to be here to get this thing going. A lot of interesting things and interesting news. I want to get into some stuff quickly before I run into the thick of things with college football and the NFL and the picks that I have slated, and for the people that call into the kitchen as well. So first and foremost, last night, if you were not prepared, well, of course, if you're in the kitchen, you know what's going on. The NBA now has one team advancing to the Western Conference Finals, being the Los Angeles Lakers taking care of business up against the Houston Rockets, and the score was 119-96. This is an interesting situation that I look at, and I'm going to peel away from the Lakers for this portion and talk about the Houston Rockets. The interesting thing about the Houston Rockets is Mike D'Antoni and his stint of coaching throughout the NBA is no guessing matter. Everybody more or less has to look at him and just figure that he's an offensive mind. He knows how to get the ball in the cup, and once they do that, he goes blank. His issue is the defensive side of the ball. For this Lakers team to have struggled shooting throughout being in the bubble and coming into this series, they actually shot the ball well up against the Houston Rockets team, who wanted to go to small ball because they have an athletic guard in Russell Westbrook and, James Harden being a ball-dominant guard as well. Both of these guys can take care of the ball and do their thing, but without a big on the floor, if you get a team that has the full five and comes at them, it's an uphill battle. And this is something that a lot of analysts have said, that this series would be over in 5, and it did end in 5. I thought there was a potential sweep here, so that's the crazy part about this. But they did not pull off a sweep, but the Rockets won that first game and did not see land since. They've been out in the water, and now their rods are out, and they're going to be fishing for the remainder of this little layoff that they do have, because the season will be turning right back around, I think, in late November, December. So they get about a month or two off. Then they have to get back to things. But this is the interesting thing that I'm looking at with this Houston Rockets team is, where do they go with Mike D'Antoni? Is Mike D'Antoni really the coach for the future? And even if he is the coach of the future, is this a 1-year thing or is this a 3-year thing? Like, how short of a leash or how long of a leash are they giving him? And then the specifics of if they keep the twosome together between James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook came out early portion of the season playing well. He fell, on a downward spiral, and he picked it back up and actually increased his play and actually started playing well. And then, the COVID situation happened, and he actually caught the coronavirus as well and was battling injury as well. But as of him coming back to the floor, and within the season, I don't really want to pick on him like that, but it's like he lost a lot of confidence in his jump shot. And with him losing confidence in his jump shot, this was something that was a detriment to the Houston Rockets, on where they could not really depend on him to knock down shots, and it was everybody else, being Eric Gordon, Daniel House, who actually got expelled from being in the bubble, from inviting people into the bubble that he wasn't supposed to, James Harden, of course, and Jeff Green. A lot of these guys that became perimeter shooters and nobody in the paint because they wanted to play small ball. So I want to see how this pans out for the Houston Rockets in this near future, on the coaching situation with D'Antoni and also the situation with Russell and Harden, if they do stay put. I don't know, but I really feel like there could be smoke here. I really feel like that they could end up separating at least one of these two, get them to go to another team, or if they stay put, how does it look with them getting another coach in the state of Texas? Okay, we do have another person in queue calling in from the Sunshine State of California, one of Sports City's own. Norm is in the building. Norm, welcome to the brunch. How are you feeling this morning?
Morning, gentlemen. Doing all right. I see you guys are talking about the Lakers-Houston game last night.
Yeah, well, first, that's what I started off until I started to get people to fill in. It's slowly getting people back in the building, but it's okay. I was addressing the Rockets situation. Now, the Lakers situation is like they're building confidence, and LeBron is actually speaking more. So, and I know why he's speaking more, because everybody wants to see this, including myself, because before this all came back, before the season started, I was saying the Western Conference Final will be the Battle of LA. Now, Denver is fighting for their lives to, stay in this thing, but I think that the Clippers can close this out and potentially see their first Western Conference Final ever. But LeBron is, basically giving the Clippers a warning that he's back and, he's the king, and Anthony Davis came out and said he's the GOAT after the performance that he put on so far in the playoffs. Your thoughts on at least this series, and your thoughts, I'm not sure if you are a Laker fan. I know you're in the Laker world out there, but your thoughts on the series and what looks bright for the future of the city of LA, whether it's purple and gold or red, white, and blue.
Yeah, so I'll nip in the butt first. I am a Lakers fan. Been a Lakers fan for over 20 years. As long as I watch basketball, it was embedded in me. Anyhow, the Clippers are definitely going to win this series. It's actually a good thing for the Lakers that the Clippers had to play a couple extra games in that series. These guys are athletes, so you kind of talk about fatigue, tire out, but no, they're at their peak performance. A couple extra games isn't going to hurt them now. It'll hurt them 10 years from now. It's going to be Lakers-Clippers, and as a fan, I still think the Lakers are going to win. But I really, the Clippers have a great program, and I think it's just going to come down to who makes more shots in that series. Both teams can ISO. Both teams can move the ball pretty well. Both teams play great defense when they want to or when they need to. And as we've seen their battles throughout the regular season before the whole shutdown, a lot of close games. So I still like the Lakers due to the fact that I like when LeBron James gets down to the low post. If they do a switch up and they get a smaller man on him, he's able to back him down. LeBron can do whatever he wants from that position, forcing the other teams to double team, which helps ball rotation for the Lakers. And with the stars they have, as long as they're hitting down shots, I don't think anyone can really beat them. They did that a couple times in the last series, and then they kind of went away from it. But they went away from it, found a different rotation with the big guys hurt, and that worked as well. But I like it when he gets down in that low post because if he doesn't, they don't double team him, it's an easy 2 points every time.
Now, here's the interesting thing. I like that you brought that situation up of him in the post and taking advantage of the switch-up. However, against the Clippers, they have defenders that can beat him, i.e. Paul George can defend him, not the ideal person that they want there, but the matchup that everybody's been wanting to see ever since 2013 and 2014, Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James. Kawhi is not afraid to defend LeBron, even though LeBron may be bigger than him, but this is the claw. He's had his way with LeBron for years now. I think they evened the series. It was 2-2 in L.A., so both of these teams don't really have the winner's edge, if you will, so this brings all the excitement there. But the Clippers have been scoring well. They're known for defense, but Denver's actually been having a good advantage of trying to make comebacks and runs and doing interesting things. But knowing that the Lakers aren't a team that shoots the ball well, but they've been shooting the ball well up against the Houston Rockets, this is a very interesting thing to see. But if they do switch him to a guard like Patrick Beverly's not a sucker, in that switch-up. He'll play tough defense. Not to say that you ideally want that in a switch-up and having that. But the Clippers can cause potential interest. I'm not going to just say damage or slow the Lakers up because the Lakers are playing some good ball right now. But I cannot wait to see this. I'm at the edge of my seat. I just want to see the Clippers get out of the way of the Nuggets, or if the Nuggets win tonight or this afternoon, they'll push for Game 7, and that gives LeBron more rest. And that's the one thing I don't like is watching LeBron get rest because he has the advantage because he's stronger with the rest. So Anything else that you'd like to add to what I said or toward this situation, or the Rockets, if you have anything that, and I was speaking on, D'Antoni potentially returning, or Harden, or Westbrook, however this thing pans out in Houston as well.
Yeah, I second your thought on that. I mean, really, the Lakers or Clippers, I was talking to my a good friend of mine about it, and he's a Clippers fan, and it's just going to be a great series. I mean, like I said, I'm just speaking from a fan standpoint. There's things I see the Lakers do that I like, but yeah, the Clippers have a great rotation as well. You kind of mentioned on the long term, who's looking better for the long term. I hate to say it, but I think the Clippers are going to have a stronger foundation. Doc Rivers is a great coach, and he's really cemented there. Even Ballmer, who bought the Clippers, is one of those just wealthy guys that, is enjoying it as entertainment and just allows them to run the program the way they want to. So Doc Rivers has a lot of pull there. I think he's going to be there for a while, which will draw a lot of the good players. And as long as Kawhi stays, which I feel pretty confident that they're going to build something good there. So Lakers, on the other hand, obviously LeBron, if they win it this year, does he want to come back the next year? There's no guarantee Anthony Davis is staying, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him leave. And if that were to happen, the Lakers are going to make a very strong push for Giannis. And I'm sure Giannis wouldn't mind coming to the Lakers. So it'd be really interesting. I just think that the Clippers, to me, looking at it right now, seem like they're going to have a stronger base for maybe a few more years. But, man, in the NBA, they trade and throw things around more than I've seen in any other league. So we shall see. On the Rockets end of things, the whole Westbrook-Harden thing is not working out. It didn't work out in OKC either. And so I would not be surprised to see Westbrook shipped out. D'Antoni, I didn't follow them that much. I know he's a more of a spread, move the ball quick type guy, never really known for a defensive team. I think Harden, they're getting to the point where I think they're going to start catering to him and ask him, what do you want? He's a superstar. The guy gets to the line. He makes great shots. And so they got to keep him happy. And I think you're going to see, like we've seen with other programs, where if you want to maintain your superstar, they start getting a voice on who the coach is. So I think, unfortunately, D'Antoni's fortune is going to be tied to what Harden wants. That's just my opinion. We shall see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think he may be at the end of his rope, but we've seen crazier stuff. But the interesting thing about the Rockets is that they got rid of Kevin McHale early, while Kevin McHale was actually doing a decent job with the Rockets. And D'Antoni was his replacement, and D'Antoni's been getting bumped. And the issue is them on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm interested to see how it looks on all three of these guys' spectrum, between D'Antoni, the head of the situation, Harden being the face of the organization, and Westbrook being a new guy there, and Westbrook having his shooting woes as it came to this portion of the series. Okay, so I'm going to switch out of this and then do the quick, because there's not that many games that I get to go over, or scores, if you will, for the top 25 in NCAA football. The Clemson Tigers, number one ranked, win their game up against Wake Forest. In Wake Forest, 37-13. Oklahoma in a shutout at home in Norman, 48-0 up against Missouri State. Notre Dame takes care of business, 10th ranked, up against Duke, 27-13. It was an interesting game at halftime, but then Duke fell asleep. Texas wins their game up against UTEP, 59-3. Erlinger is actually playing good ball, but this is up against UTEP. I want to see what he does in the Big 12. North Carolina wins their game up against Syracuse in a cruising blowout, 31-6. And Iowa State loses their matchup at home up against Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, 31-14. And that's I want to call that a blowout. They lost by 17 at home. That's a blowout. But that rounds out the top 25 for this week. UCF's game was postponed. Are there any games that caught your attention, Norm, that you've seen yesterday in Saturday's college football games?
You know what? No, I started watching that Clemson game, and I just lost interest early. It just didn't seem right. This whole COVID thing just really just could have put a whole curtain over the top of the NCAA football. It just, with so many teams deciding not to play and the scramble just to make a schedule and what have you, I did watch about maybe half a quarter, and I just lost interest. But I did keep note of the top 25, like I always do, like you just rolled off. noticed the scores. Nothing really jumped out at me, though. But I'll tell you this, it's good to have football back on. And I know that the more they play, the more they just keep fighting through these regulations and protocols they're trying to do, the more they're going to realize, hey, you know what, maybe we can just go back to normal. You know, it's the start that I've been waiting for, people just to kind of grab the horse by the reins and say, we're just going to keep pushing on. And you know, obviously having our opening night Thursday football was excellent, and you know, I think we're going to get things popping today. So it's starting to feel a little bit like normal, and hopefully same will work for the NCAA program. You know, some of those games will kind of feel more like normal as we go through the season.
No, I agree. No fan, especially watching Clemson play. Knowing Clemson is one of the teams to watch in college football, and there was nobody there, let alone they were playing at another stadium. So, you know, a lot of teams are going to try and get up and get their fans up in the game. There was none of that, and Clemson was having their way. The Wake Forest kicker missed about 2 or 3 kicks in the game. It was just all around bad, and then it was like, okay, they'll let them score a touchdown at the end of the game. They if they wanted to, they could have cleaned Wake Forest up, but they didn't. But just like you said, just to see the sport be played, and me myself, I actually got my fix in on Thursday. Being a Miami Hurricane fan, they took care of business up against UAB. So we lost a lot of pieces being a Miami Hurricane team, but they actually won at home and did what they needed to do up against a feisty UAB team. In other news in sports, before I get into the thick of things, because I know I can't wait to get into, the most wonderful time of the year. It feels like it's presents under the tree, and Conor McGregor getting arrested overseas. And it's like this guy, again, can't stay out of his own way. I don't know if you're a big McGregor fan, but your thoughts on him getting arrested and for the reason as well.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't even aware of that. I hadn't read that headline, but it doesn't surprise me. I think the last time he got arrested, he says he needs to learn to respect the bottle. He likes drinking that Jameson. And I guarantee you that's probably what's involved again. Had a little too much to drink, got a little feisty, and it doesn't surprise me one bit he got arrested.
Yeah, and the last time he got arrested was that incident that happened in Brooklyn out here on the East Coast, and he was throwing things through the bus window. However, this one is like, what's going on? And I agree with you on this. I think this can be used on, like, alcohol, on him in an indecent exposure in a sexual assault situation. So I'm wondering if he harmed the person. I don't know if it was a male or female, however that may go down. I don't know, but it's like, Conor, you just fought Floyd Mayweather about a year or 2, maybe 3 years ago, and got $175 million. Like, act like you're rich. Like what could possibly make you act still silly? Like, I don't get it. But people are people at the end of the day. They have triggers and stuff that, you know, they just can't stay out of their own tornado, if you will. But this is like unacceptable, and I don't know if he'll be fighting again. There's a lot of question marks if he's coming back into the octagon, or if he will take a risk at boxing again. But it's like your name is going to stay in the lights, and of course it's negative, and it's not a positive move, especially by you, where there's a lot of people that follow you, but it doesn't help your stature, if you will, if you're doing questionable things. So that's a quick one I wanted to get out of the way. Not too many other things that I have, but my presents are under this doggone tree, and I'm ready to get into Christmas. I can't run from it any longer. So without any further ado, we have week 1 of the NFL season in front of us, and I know you guys kicked it off with the free-for-all, and you guys didn't get your picks, but you actually were entertained by the Kansas City Chiefs taking care of business up against the Houston Texans. And just like I said on the show, I hate to be nasty, Sports City. I'm not a nasty person, but this is what the Houston Texans get, 34-20. I think that score was more respectable at the end of the game, but I feel like the Chiefs could have took the lid off this game if they wanted to. Props to Deshaun Watson. I'm happy that he got paid. You know, I think he deserves it, being the face, to me, the face of the organization. But I feel like people are questioning it. I think they give more of the face to J.J. Watt. But J.J. Watt and his defense couldn't get to at least Mahomes. I know it's a tough task trying to tackle Tyreek Hill in the track meet. That's what I want to call the Chiefs. I want to call them the track meet because everybody could at least run a 4.5 or 4.4 better, including Kelsey. So that's just ridiculous. But for them to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins and have their issue scoring all the way up until the fourth quarter, they scored a touchdown in the first quarter. It did nothing after that until the fourth quarter came where it was like the game was basically over. And 34-20, I want to get this one out the way. Your thoughts on your boys on banner night. How did you feel as they started off sluggish, but then the second quarter they started to run the scoreboard up?
Yeah, the Chiefs, I've been saying it, and, when it happens, you're a genius. When it doesn't happen, you got to search for answers, right? And that's the nature of this. But I've been saying it ever since they won the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are always going to score 30 points plus. It's just when they get 5-6 possessions, they're going to score on most of them. They're just a very hard team to stop. And so the key is, the Chiefs can obviously score quick. We've seen that. So when they fall behind, they can score very quickly and get quick answers. Didn't have to do that this night. They controlled the whole game. They introduced a little more running. Amazingly, Andy Reid ran more than he threw, which I couldn't believe it when I think I saw 6 straight handoffs. I was shocked. But it's good. I just think that the Chiefs offensively are going to always roll out there. They're going to see what the defense is trying to do. Better defenses will disguise things and run some stunts. I don't think the Texans are one of those better defenses. So once the Chiefs realized what they were doing in coverage and their base package, they said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to roll this out, and the Chiefs just completely controlled it. Once they get up like they did, it makes it easier on the defense because, the other teams abandoned the run. And I thought the Chiefs' defense, really, if you look at the last 2 touchdowns, were kind of gimmies. The Chiefs were running a lot of blitzes. I think that was Spagnuolo trying to, put stuff on film so they can look at it and grow from there. I still didn't like the way the defense for Kansas City stopped the run. I think they still need to get a little better right there. But overall, the Chiefs, I think, are going to, like you say, they're going to continue to score 30 points a week. So you either have to find a way to stop that, which no one has, or you got to outscore them. And that's how it's going to be most of the year for Kansas City, no matter who they play. The Texans, to be honest with you, they're just they're a better than average team. But looking at their schedule, they're going to have a rough go of it this year. I know we just talked about who's going to win each division last Thursday, and I had kind of Texans up top. And, without looking at their schedule, you just think, well, they're better than the other teams in that division. Looking at their schedule, it's a rough one. They got Baltimore next week. Then they go to Pittsburgh, which is a game I think they should win, but it's no gimme. Then they're home against the Vikings before they finally settle on a winnable game against the Jaguars. So the Texans are going to have a rough go of it. But I will tell you this. They're going to lose next week to the Ravens. They're going to be 0-2. Everyone's going to count them out. Everyone's going to think, oh, this team's horrible. You traded DeAndre Hopkins. And I think they're going to come out and beat Pittsburgh. And I'm putting some serious money on that game right now because the line should be favorable for the Texans on that one.
We still have to see what the Pittsburgh Steelers look like, though. That you can't just say that these guys are a winner against Pittsburgh or Ben comes out and does well or Juju, like there's a lot of things that have to go into play for the Steelers. So this is interesting that you threw that out there. I think that the potential may be there for that Ravens game as well because it's going to be 2 scrambling quarterbacks. All of the headlines are going to be there for that game. So that's going to be an interesting game in itself. That's why they say that any given Sunday situation and a lot of these times I look at games and we'll call them and then we'll be like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. And then next thing you know, they come out and play the game, and it's like, wait, what happened? Who fell asleep? Like, why is this happening? So I don't want to take too much away from the Texans, but I am one, just like you said, I'm mad that they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins did everything that he could with that offense, especially while both Watson and J.J. Watt were getting hurt, and he was out there on that field playing. So, there are going to be playmakers on that team. They got Cooks, they got Fuller, but it shows right now up against a Chiefs team who didn't do well up against the run. You guys came out and ran the ball well and scored a touchdown in the first quarter and got away. Just like you said, they abandoned the running game and couldn't do anything until the fourth quarter. So they have to show me more. But fresh out of the gate, I'm questioning the Texans and the Chiefs. Only thing I can say is if you're defending them, hopefully you can put, I want to say about 17 men on the field because There's a lot of speed out there. That's ridiculous. Let alone a rookie running back pull off 130-plus yards rushing, and he's just getting warm in the offense. Like, he's not even set yet. So it's like once he's all taken care of, this is going to be ridiculous. So Chiefs take care of business. Okay, so I'm getting into the first couple I'm getting to all the games. Forget the first couple. I'm getting every last game this week. And every game has a good matchup. I don't even want to say it's like, oh, it's a no-brainer. It's tough, right? So the first game we're getting into, week 1, the Seattle Seahawks travel across country into Georgia, a.k.a. the Mercedes-Benz Stadium of the Atlanta Falcons. This game is basically a pick-em. Atlanta is favored by 1. Norm, your thoughts on the game, who wins, and who's the standout player for the afternoon?
Yeah, I'm going to take Russell Wilson on the road. It's basically a pick 'em game, and this is actually a game I wouldn't typically bet on just because it's so anybody could win. If the Falcons came out and won by a field goal, well, it wouldn't surprise me either. I'm really anxious to see if year over year you see superstars that are good players and they have good seasons, and then the next year they have another good season, and then as they age, you just wonder, is this the year they fall off? And there's a lot of veterans that are out there that are going to fall off this year. And if you can pick which ones fall off before watching them, that's when you got to beat on something. And so Matt Ryan, is not a spring chicken anymore. Still a great quarterback. He's in a good system. Julio Jones is there. Did he lose a step? As long as those two guys can continue to stretch the field, Matt Ryan to Julio Jones, and if Hayden Hurst makes an impact like he should, if Gurley comes with a chip on his shoulder, the Falcons are going to win this game. They're going to surprise a lot of people. But if it's lackluster, if something's just not right, I still expect Russell Wilson and the Seattle's running game to do what they did last year. And it should be a very good game. But if I had to pick, I would take Seattle.
Very interesting game. I do not know how to call this because it's like I feel comfortable in saying the Falcons will win this game. They're at home. Just like you said, Gurley with a chip on his shoulder, being back in the state of Georgia where he went to school at. Julio Jones and Matty Ice, them having a subpar season last year, especially after being Super Bowl contenders a few years back. I mean, they have a point to prove with this passing game, and they do have new pieces in the passing game as well. So They have a core to come at Seattle, even though Seattle's decent on the defensive side of the ball. They lost a lot of the pieces of the Legion of Boom, but I will never count that defense out, and I don't care what game the Seattle Seahawks are in. Russell Wilson will probably be in that game somehow, some way, like not down like 10 points, but it'll be a game where you're biting your nails and he's making plays. So I don't want to take too much away from him and what he's able to do, especially with another year. This is the second year we get to see DK Metcalf, and he's no longer a rookie anymore. So if he's comfortable going up against these defenders, and the Falcons aren't known in their secondary, so this could be an awesome game to keep your eyes on. But you went Russell Wilson. I don't know which way to go for player of the game. I really want to go that way. I want to go DK Metcalf. I think Metcalf will have a good game calling this game. I'm going to go Falcons, though. I feel comfortable saying the Falcons win at home. I'll go Falcons. The next matchup we have are the New York Jets at Buffalo up against the Buffalo Bills. And this one, the Bills are favored by 6.5, or a touchdown, basically. AFC East matchup, division rivalry, all the stars are in line. I just want to see what the Jets really look like with all the pieces that have been moved and a lot of the talk of people, not being comfortable within this system. I want to see what the Jets look like. I'm going to go Bills. I think the Bills are winning at home, especially with the spread where it is set. And I feel like the running game could flood the Jets as well. I don't think the Bills should get past happy, even though I think they will get in that passing game. Your thoughts on this game? Do the Jets have it in them? Is Le'Veon Bell going to be a factor? Your thoughts on this game, Jets in Buffalo?
Yeah. On a betting factor, this is one of those, Buffalo's easily going to win this game. The 6.5 spread is an interesting point spread because Buffalo could be up by 17 with 10 minutes to go, and the Jets could get some dumpy touchdowns, some lackluster stuff like we saw in the Texans-Chiefs game. So I don't like this spread on a week one, even though Buffalo is going to win at home. But this is one of those I will parlay with a bet I do like, and I'll just take Buffalo to win outright. So obviously the payday is less, but when you parlay it with another good one, it beefs up your payout. So I like Buffalo to win. And really, I think Buffalo, I'm not looking for anything from them. I think they're just going to come out and kind of try to do what they did last year, and hopefully that, that young core just improves naturally through it. This game's all about what are the Jets going to bring. You got some pieces there. You got some names. Is it all going to come together? Well, so I think I'm looking more at what are the Jets bringing, what are they doing? Are they a dumpy team again, or, hey, are they a team that has something going on? So, again, Buffalo's the better team. They should win at home, but I think the eyes are really on the Jets. And, I do think I want to see Le'Veon Bell and where he fits in with the system and how they're running things this year. Do they stick to the run? Do they get him out in space? Because really, you brought him in, paid him what you paid him. He's a great back in the league. They need to make him the focal point of the offense. So let's see what Le'Veon Bell can bring.
Okay, I want to do this one quickly. I'm not sure if I'm reading this correct. It looks like the Colts and Jaguars are starting, if I'm reading this correctly. I want to refresh my screen. But if not, I want to call this game now. Colts in Jacksonville up against the Jags. Who do you like in this game and why, and who's the standout player?
I'll actually take Jacksonville with the points at home, +8. The Chargers, Indianapolis should win this game, but 8 points for a home team, even though the Jaguars are not good. I see the Jaguars using a lot of ball control and this being a very low-scoring game. Minshew, I don't see him really turning the ball over, but I don't see him going downfield much. I like Indy to win, but I will take Jaguars +8 at home.
I'm going with the Colts. I think this can get out of hand. The interesting part about it, the Jags got rid of Leonard Fournette, who was I want to say the Jaguars. They already got rid of Foles. They get rid of Leonard Fournette. I think they're going to be pass happy like crazy. Of course, they're going to hand the ball off, but I don't see them having an impact going up against the Colts. This is a game where Phillip Rivers has to show out, and he's going up against a defense that has to more or less have to prove themselves because they lost a good amount of pieces in the past year or so as well. So I'm going with the Colts to win this one and to cover if you want to do the 8+ point spread. I think they will win by double digits. I think this is a 10-point game being in Florida too. I don't care where they are. The Jaguars are looking like a mess. Front office, and I can't really pick on the roster because this is the way they were assembled. So I blame a lot of this on the front office. Okay, just to get that one out. So we got 3 games so far. Now the thicker things. In the NFC North, we have the Packers going up against the division rival in Minnesota up against the Minnesota Vikings. This is a very interesting game. Minnesota's favored by 2. Man, I don't even know which way to go. I wanted to pick first, but I'm going to try. So, as bad as I want to say the Vikings will win this game at home, I think Aaron Rodgers, with a point to prove, will win this game, and this will be a close game. But even though the Vikings are favored, I feel like Rodgers, with everybody saying Jordan Love behind them, what are they going to do with on the defensive side of the ball? I think this may end up being a potential shootout, but I think the Packers will win this game, get a score 31-27. I go 31-27. Packers going away. They go back home and be comfortable. Player of the game is going to have to be Aaron Rodgers. I can't look at maybe Aaron Jones. Maybe my guy Aaron Jones. I'm cool with Aaron Jones, so that's cool. But it's either one of the Aarons. And I'm going to go with Rodgers. But I feel like Aaron Jones has actually made a name for himself. He could be an impact player, too, in this game. Your thoughts on this matchup, Norm? Packers in Minnesota up against the Vikings, and who do you like as the standout player?
Yeah, this is a game, again, I wouldn't put any money on it because we need to see what both do, and it should be a very close game. That's why the line's where it's at. But I would always, if I had to pick, I will take the home team, which is Minnesota on this one. The things to look for, I want to see, obviously Aaron Rodgers' mobility. Does he have time in the pocket to throw? Because if you give him time in the pocket, everything should work out for him. Dalvin Cook is going to have to be the player of the game for Minnesota. If they're to win, I think they need to feature him a lot. And if they can establish his running, especially what we saw happen to the Packers against the Niners in the playoffs last year, you would think that they would come out and try to stretch them to the sides. Can the Packers defense stop that? Did they adjust enough? And I'll be honest, I really like the Packers defensive coordinator, Pettit. He's a great coach, and I actually picked Green Bay's defense in fantasy this year just because I believe in him, and I know they made good draft picks on defense in the last couple of years here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Packers defense be a lot better this year. So I'm still going Minnesota because they're at home, but I got my eyes on the Packers defense, Rodgers' mobility, and then obviously I want to see Dalvin Cook and how they feature him for Minnesota. I do like the idea of a shootout, though. I won't guess a score, but I do see it be more high scoring.
Forgetting they got Dalvin Cook, even though he's, in and out of the lineup dealing with injuries. But this is a fresh start Vikings team with a lot of pieces. They just picked up Jefferson from LSU as well. The Vikings are going to be something to deal with, but the question still remains, 2 words, Kirk Cousins. That's the only thing that bothers me, if Kirk Cousins could actually outshoot Aaron Rodgers. That's why I'm still stuck with the Packers. I'm not comfortable with Kirk Cousins, even though he's got a boatload of money and he's made impressive strides from his past into where we are at now in this day and time of 2020. But I'm still favoring the Packers.
You know what's funny about Kirk Cousins? He's like that nerd in a pickup basketball game that just keeps burying threes in the corner, and you hate him. You're like, dude, you suck, but he keeps making his shot. That's Kirk Cousins. We all just look at him like, why the hell is this guy getting paid? Why? But he keeps making it happen. He just doesn't – he's not the guy you would pick for your team as a leader, but he keeps getting it done. So I think that's why he's an irritant. It's funny, isn't it?
I have 5 words for you since you said that. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You like that, don't you?
Right.
I have. I wonder if he starts bringing that. I'll start throwing that back out there like he was some all-pro quarterback when he started winning in Washington. Man, I'm telling you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna get away from that because I don't want to pick on him too much. All right. The next matchup, I have another NFC North matchup. The Chicago Bears are coming into Detroit up against the Lions. I'm nervous as ever about this matchup, especially with the potential of Kenny Golladay potentially being out. They said he was doubtful. I think there's more or less game time. Your thoughts on the matchup? Who do you like and why? Who's the standout player as well, Lawrence?
Yeah, you're nervous because you're a fan of that of the home team, but I'll take Detroit minus the points, and I would put $100 on this game. I like Stafford. Patricia's back for the 3rd year. He's more of a defensive guy, but still, Detroit, had a really good team last year, and they just right at the end of a lot of games or situations here, they just couldn't get it done. And it's not the coach's fault, maybe not the players, maybe some of it's bad luck, but I think Detroit's gonna like I said, I do see them fighting for that division this year, and it's because of Stafford. So Stafford's totally going to outduel Mitch Trubisky. The spotlight is going to be Chicago's defense. Can Khalil Mack break through to what he did 2 years ago? Last year was an off year. That's the hard part. I think once Chicago last year realized that they didn't have an offense, I think it's kind of a downer for the defense, knowing that it'd be on the field a lot and their offense couldn't score. But this is week 1. This is where everyone comes out fired up, so it should still be a good game. But I like Detroit to win by at least a touchdown.
See, and they do still have pieces. Like, okay, so Trubisky is a scrambling quarterback that can actually make things happen. So that's something that bothers the Lions if things break down in the passing game, that he can take off and pick up yardage as well. They also picked up Jimmy Graham as well, a 6'8" monster out of the University of Miami, which I know so well about. So they have pieces that can make a difference in this game. I'm waiting to see what happens with Golladay. Also, I'm really holding Patricia's feet to the fire. If he can make a difference for this defense, there's no way that he's a head coach and they call him a rocket scientist of defense, and the defense is as bad as it was the past 2 years since he's been here. So you have to show me something, Matthew, Patricia, and Stafford. I don't care if you're sluggish or you looking bad, then just blow the season and we get rid of you. That's it. Enough is enough. You've gotten well over $100-some-odd million and playing mediocre. Like you're telling people that you're coming for the MVP. You came out of the gate playing decent, and then you got hurt and were out for the remainder of the season. And injuries happen. Stuff like that happens. I can't hold too much of the injury, but now there's a point to prove, Matt. There's too much. You've been here for 11 years, and you have no playoff win. You've been there 3 times. You've been to the playoffs 3 times. But these are games you have to win now. There's no more close games and nail biting into the fourth quarter. You're trying to win the game late. Like, no, you have to try to win games and have the lead from start to finish, going wire to wire. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on my boys. I feel like we should be able to open up in Detroit and win this game. I'm going to Detroit to win this. But I feel like just being a Detroit fan, this is going to be one of those field goal or 4-point win type of games. So Lions at home winning this one close. I don't think this is a blowout. But Detroit is favored by 2.5. I'm waiting to see what happens with Galladay as well. Now, this next matchup we have is a very interesting matchup. The Dolphins are going into New England. New England is favored by 7. However, there are a lot of pickers or analysts, if you will, that think that the Dolphins can go into Foxborough and steal this game. They feel like this is the upset of the week for this Sunday's matchup. I'm going to go Patriots. I feel comfortable with Cam Newton to get the job done. Cam Newton being the player of this game as well. I just want to see how it looks up against this Dolphins team. I'm not comfortable with the Dolphins with what they've been doing for the past, I want to say 5 to 7 years. So I'm still not comfortable with them now. Norm, your thoughts on this game? Is this a potential upset with the Dolphins, or do you think the Patriots take care of business? Do they cover the 7-point spread as well?
Yeah, this is a game, as a betting man, I don't touch this game. And part of the reason why I think you see a lot of people picking Miami is, let's face it, most people are just so sick and tired of watching New England win. Most of America was really happy and united last year when New England got knocked out of the playoffs. I think everyone realized it was over for them. Now no Brady, this, that, and everybody just wants to see them fall because they've been so successful for so long. But you can't bet that way. You got to bet with the facts, and the facts are New England, until proven otherwise, is the better team. So they're at home, -7. That line makes sense. I wouldn't bet on it. If you force me to pick it, I'm going to take New England -7. But I am rooting for Miami, and I do think Miami can come in there and win. But the question is going to be, I really want to see what New England's defense looks like and what they're doing with so many people that are gone. I mean, their whole defense was decimated by free agency and COVID opt-outs. I don't care how good of a defensive coordinator you are or mind you have, Belichick, you got to have personnel. And I'm sure he's going to have a lot of young, hungry rookies in there wanting to prove themselves. But got a couple of mistakes could equal touchdowns quick. Their only saving grace is that Fitzpatrick is the quarterback for Miami. And I've always liked him. He's a tough, gritty guy. But, the stats aren't on his side. He throws a lot of ints, makes a lot of mistakes. And so if they can confuse him in any way with coverage schemes, I just still think New England, being at home should win the game. But I am rooting for Miami. So final pick, I will take New England -7. And the spotlight is on New England's defense. What are they doing with all these losses they have?
Very interesting. And the names that Brian had mentioned the other day makes it even more crazier as well. So the next matchup I do have is in the NFC East, another division. A lot of these division rivalries. I think they started off with a lot of division rivalries this week one. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at Washington up against the Washington football team. This is very awkward. At least give them a nickname. Like Dan Snyder, you really sat there and didn't want to give them a mascot or anything, but that's beyond me. So the Eagles in D.C. Are favored by 6. I think this is a no-brainer. I'm going with the Eagles to win this game. I think they cover. I think Carson Wentz goes off against this Washington football team defense. Your thoughts on this game? Do you have somebody different that may be the player of the game? I think the running back Sanders is out also for this matchup as well.
Yeah, see, this game right here, I actually like Washington to win this game, and again, I'm going to put some money on this. This is a light bet. This is like a $25 bet, just a little fun bet. But I'm going to take Washington without the points to win outright this game at home. And I believe that Ron Rivera, the regime he's bringing in, the attitude they're going to do, I think it's going to kind of right the ship and get everybody in line. And Washington, for the last few years has not been a team that stands out, but they have pieces. And I don't know. It maybe call it just a gut pick, but I believe that Washington's going to surprise some people this year. I still think they're a sub 500 club, but they're going to be in a lot of games. And obviously, I think the spotlight more so is going to be, Washington's quarterback play. I'll be honest, I don't even know who's getting the starting nod. Was it Alex Smith or is it Haskins? I don't know. So I want to see how that develops, but I like Washington at home.
Very interesting. Wow, that might be the bold pick of the week right now, with the Washington football team beating the Eagles outright, too. He's saying outright, clean. Okay, well, buckle up, stay tuned, Sports City, as they'll be taking flight this week as well, so I want to hear the recap on that game as well. Another interesting matchup. All the new, too. We have the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't believe I'm saying that. That's my favorite city in the country, at least, or valley. I don't know how to describe it, but I can describe it if I was there. But Las Vegas Raiders up against the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. The Raiders are favored by 3 in Carolina. New face, Teddy Bridgewater. There's no more Cam Newton, as we spoke on. The team, the face of the organization is Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey can get this done up against the Raiders, I'm going to be honest. I'm going with the Raiders in Carolina to take care of business. I really feel like there's a lot of pressure on that defense of the Panthers while they got, Luke Kuechly retired, and a lot of people from that defense aren't there. Your thoughts with the new start Panthers, new quarterback, new coach out of Baylor as well. Your thoughts, Raiders or Panthers, and who is the impact player in the game as well?
Yeah, I'll take the Raiders -3 as well. We're in Gruden's third year. He's progressively gotten that team better, and I think they continue to add the right pieces. The Raiders, I do like them to win that game. What is interesting, though, is that spotlight's really going to be on what is Teddy Bridgewater doing in Carolina. How are they using him? Well, what's he going to do? Obviously, a lot of mix of Christian McCaffrey, but what kind of offense are they running? It's a lot of unknowns, and when you have unknowns, it's hard to prepare as a defense for what you're going to see. So this should be a close game, and that 3-point spread is a little scary because the Raiders could dominate the game, but again, on defense, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is going to fire downfield a bunch. You don't know if he's going to check down the whole time, and you just don't know. And so I'm anxious to see Teddy Bridgewater. I'm rooting for the guy. Unfortunately, he went through the knee injury, but just what a stud to work his way back and just keep his mouth shut and work hard. And I'm happy to see him get paid and get a starting job, and I'm rooting for him. But I do like the Raiders to win this game, and I'll take the Raiders -3.
So they're covering, too. Okay. So the next matchup I have, like I said, division rivalry, but this one is bigger than just a division rivalry. We have the new Cleveland Browns up against the old Cleveland Browns, a.k.a. the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 7. They have the NFL MVP. Everything's in line. I mean, I more or less want to see what Lamar has up his sleeve now. If Lamar gets better, this is his third season, people, and he won an MVP last year. If he gets better than what we seen last year, that's unreal. I feel like he's seen the ceiling. But if it gets better than what we seen last year, he has just going to win the MVP back to back. That's at least how I'm looking at it. The Browns, there's no more grounds for excuses anymore. This is Baker Mayfield again under center. You have Landry. You have Odell Beckham, who's in the news for negative situations I'm not talking about on air. But you have a core to get the job done, and you have a running back in Nick Chubb. You guys have a good running core, too. So there's a lot of pressure on this Browns team to get it done here. I don't want to hear any more excuses, especially with the names that you guys go out to war with. I am going to go with the Ravens because they are at home, but I don't think the Ravens cover. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I think the Browns keep this close. But I don't think this is a blowout by any means. But I think, Lamar actually has his way with this defense, try to stay away from Myles Garrett and company, and, win this game interesting enough. But I don't think they cover the 7. I think the Browns will make a game of this. Norm, your thoughts on this matchup? Who do you like, and impact player as well?
Yeah, it's funny. The line on this one's a little off. I know MGM has it at 7. DraftKings has it at 7.5. I see one line has it up to 8 points for Cleveland. I kind of just follow what you said. I think Baltimore is going to win this game. 8 points is a lot, though. Not enough for me to put money on Cleveland. So this is a game I stay away from. But I do like Baltimore to win. And as far as Lamar Jackson improving, and it's all talk right now, I got to see it. And the guy's, his roof is so high. He can be so great. Like I said, I've seen this happen so many times with mobile quarterbacks where they try to change him. They want him to do this. And they just, you got to leave good alone. And I'm anxious to see, if Lamar Jackson has less than 50 yards rushing, it's going to be a nail biter. If they let him roam free and scramble and do as he pleases, and he gets above that, and it's the old Lamar, yeah, they should easily cover. But I'm not touching the game. But for my pick, I will take. I like Baltimore to win outright. But if you force me to pick with this point spread, I'll take Cleveland in the points. That's a tough game, though.
I 100% agree with you. I would not mess with it because it's so much there. The rivalry, the namesake. They left Cleveland to go to Baltimore. There's a lot there, let alone to anybody in this game, Baker Mayfield has to prove himself, period. If there's too many cameras and lights on him right now for him to come up with another excuse. So, and plus the way that the draft went that year, whether it was Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson, everybody put their eggs in all in one basket for Baker Mayfield. Well, Lamar got an MVP. So far, so good. It's looking better for the Ravens. But that's a whole nother conversation. Okay, on to the 4 o'clock game. We have the Los Angeles Chargers up against the Cincinnati Bengals, in which the Bengals are home. The Chargers are favored by 3. Interesting enough, this is the first game with Joe Burrow running the show for the Bengals. I hope they don't get off to a sluggish start out of the season. There's a lot of pressure on him with him being a number 1 pick and the way that he played with LSU. But it's different now. I want to see if he can carry this Tiger team, a.k.a. the Bengals, to take care of business up against the Chargers. I'm going to be honest. I feel like the Bengals win this game. I think this might be I don't want to say an upset, but one of those eyebrow-raising type of games. And Joe Burrow is the player of the game. Your thoughts on the Los Angeles Chargers visiting the Cincinnati Bengals, and who's the player of the game?
Yeah, the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers on this one. I'll take the Chargers -3. And the only reason why I'm not putting a serious amount of money on this game is because I did this with the Chargers. I want to say 2 years ago. I did my homework. I looked at some stuff, and I made the absolute perfect bet. And it was the Chargers at home against an inferior team. And I'm telling you right now, I took a -6.5, and they ended up winning by only 3. And I just said, I'll never bet on these damn Chargers again. It's frustrating because they have so many pieces. They are a good team. I mean, now you got Tyrone at quarterback, which I think actually helps them. I think his mobility, moving around, is going to help them, and that's why I think they're going to win this game. But I think the starting this game is going to be Austin Eckler. I think they're just going to feed him the rock and game and space. And I don't necessarily think Cincinnati's got any kind of a defense. No names pop out to me other than Geno Atkins if he's still there. But, I mean, I just don't think they're going to be able to stop Eckler in space. I think Tyrod's going to make enough throws. And, yeah, again, with Cincinnati, if Joe Burrow comes out and surprises everybody, then he'll be the talk of the town. But I just, it's rare that a rookie quarterback, especially with the offseason we had, he doesn't understand the pace of the NFL. I expect Bosa and Ingram to be sacking him all day long. Actually, that might be the bet. If there's a props bet on how many sacks in the game, I bet you Joe Burrow goes down at least 5-6 times. So I like the Chargers minus the points.
And we have a split there, and I'm going to be watching that game close because I do agree with you that the pass rush could be there, but if the Bengals could pick that up, this could be a very interesting matchup, especially with a new face at quarterback for the Chargers as well. So they have a new face with Tyrone running the show, but we'll see. As you know, we no longer see Phillip Rivers behind center. So this is one of those get your popcorn ready type of games. Joe Burrow is no place like home. This is not Kansas anymore. I think the next game that we're getting into is the game of the day. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome up against the New Orleans Saints. We have Brady against Breeze. This is a new face in a new city, but the old song that goes along with him is Brady. There's a story of a guy named Brady. I don't know how to judge this one. And Breeze at home, I mean, they're virtually unstoppable, and this what makes it good because you don't know what defense you're going to see with the Bucs. If the Bucs, I mean, you got Levante David in them in the middle, but can they be impactful enough to help slow down Drew Brees in that passing game? I don't think so. I'm going to go Saints. I think Drew Brees and Kamara, they do this together and pick on this Buccaneers team and start the Bucs off shaky. However, I think Brady makes this a game in the fourth quarter, but I still feel the Saints pull this one off. Your thoughts on the game? Who do you like? And who is the standout player in the game as well?
Yeah, again, I wouldn't put money on this one just because we need to see what Tampa Bay with Brady's all about. And the 3.5, it's just it's too many points. But I do like the Saints. If I had to pick, I'm taking Saints minus 3.5. They're the home team. They should pick up right where they left off. One of the big things I look at, especially for week 1 and actually probably up to about week 4, with teams that have a core group or continuity from years past, when you have the off season that we had with no preseason, no contact on some of this stuff, the teams that kind of stayed intact, I think should get off to faster starts than the teams that are just trying to build and learn. They didn't get enough reps and film to look at to prepare. And so, even though Brady's an old veteran, he's in a new system with a different coach, different offensive lineman. And I respect Brady, and I think he's going to definitely bring it all together for that team. But we're talking week 1. I expect a lot of mishaps, a lot of miscommunication, and I expect that with any young team. That's why Burrow with Cincinnati is going to have a tough go of it. With an offseason like we had, the speed of the game, the things you think might work in practice, all of a sudden it's not working in the game. And, hey, we have to make a quick switch. Well, if you're a team that's got a system intact, like the Saints and Drew Brees and how the Chiefs were, you roll right through it. And that's why I like the Saints in this one. But, the spotlight is on Tom Brady, how do they adapt, how do they do, player of the game. I just think it's going to be Drew Brees. I think he's going to take over.
Very interesting game. I'm getting my popcorn ready for this game as well. I agree with you. I feel like Brees will make this interesting early, or at least try to light the scoreboard up early to make Brady and them be in an uphill battle. However, Brady has a ton of weapons on that offensive side of the ball. That's why I can't totally count them out. With both O.J. Howard and Gronkowski at the tight end position, both of these guys are houses. Let alone you have Mike Evans on the outside as a receiver, too. There's a lot of weapons in the passing game for Brady to go to. So I feel like this is going to be one of those fourth quarter games where everybody's sweating. But I'm going to give the favorable judgment on my side to the New Orleans Saints being at home. But that 3.5, that's questionable. I feel like they'll win by a field goal. I feel that. That can potentially happen. This is a tough one for me. Man, I wish Brian was here. The Arizona Cardinals going into Santa Clara up against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know I am on air with Norm Arendis people, and I know Norm does not like Kyler Murray. I know this, right? But I know Kyler Murray is a problem, especially with Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins. This can be a very interesting game. Now, Bosa is the guy up front with the front four that they do have to make stuff happen up front. However, this is a scrambling quarterback in Kyler Murray with another year under his belt, too. This is going to be very interesting to see how this goes down. I favor San Francisco at home to win, but I think the Cardinals will cover getting 7. If I'm looking at it like that, the player of this game, I really want to go Kittle. I'm going to go George Kittle to win player of the game for me. 49ers win this game at home, but they will not cover that 7. Norm, your thoughts on this game? How do you feel about it, and who's the impact player as well?
Well, let me clarify one thing. It's not that I don't like Kyler Murray. I'm just not a believer that he's an NFL quarterback. Now, Baker Mayfield, that guy I don't like. He's a little punk. Anyhow, back to the pick. I like Frisco to cover. I'll take San Francisco at home -6.5. But again, the eyes and everyone's going to be watching. Will Kyler Murray grow and develop? Is he going to get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins? How does this all mesh? There's a lot of excitement going on within the Arizona, but it's a lot of question marks. And I'll take the team that was in the Super Bowl last year that wins with stout defense and just a run-heavy offense. And I just think, like I said, I think San Francisco is going to pick up where they left off, just like the Chiefs did, and I think they're going to roll through this. And I think once they get to a lead, now imagine Bosa and that front line just coming at you because now you're one-dimensional. So I see that game going very similar to the Texans-Chiefs game. And you wouldn't have thought the Chiefs would have gotten that far ahead, but again, once the game becomes one-dimensional, it changes everything. And then you got a team at home, even without crowds, being in your own backyard gives you a better feeling. So I do like the Niners to cover on this one, but 6.5 points is a lot of points, and there's more to be. I guess there's more out there for the Arizona to prove that could happen, but I'll go with the defending NFC champions. I think I lost you there, TP. You there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was up here talking and I was on mute. I apologize, people. So the next game for the evening is the Cowboys are going into Los Angeles up against the Rams in that new stadium that they have out there. And the only thing that's horrible about this is there are no fans, people. I remember it's 2020, and I think it was like 2016, maybe 15, when they started to show the blueprint and how the stadium was going to look, and they said, well, it'll be here 2020. It's 2020, and that stadium is ready to go. And believe me, I've done the virtual tour about 4 times just on how crazy that stadium is. If you're amazed, and I can't stand the Cowboys, people, and not just because I'm talking about this game here, just in general, but I do want to see a Cowboy game in Dallas just to see the TV, right? I just want to see the TV, right? But when the Rams started doing their, blueprint and how they were constructing things down there in California and seeing the TV that they have, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, how crazy that thing looks. It's like I want to go to the Rams game at least once. I think the Super Bowl is supposed to come there in like 2 or 3 years or something like that. And if I could put that together and get to a Super Bowl to see that, that would be incredible. But back to the game, this is the fan coming out of me. The Dallas Cowboys are favored by 2 in California. I'm going with the Cowboys. It's tough for me to say that, even though the Rams have a passing attack and could attack the Dallas Cowboys' defense. But I feel like the Cowboys have too much to deal with for the Rams to win this game. It's like Aaron Donald and Ramsey trying to deal with all of the weapons that the Cowboys are coming off of offensively, and let alone Dak Prescott with a chip on his shoulder. I feel like the Cowboys will be ready to win this game. I'm going to go with I'll go Dak, actually. I think Dak will be the player of the game offensively. I think the run game will be there, but I don't think it's one of those games where Zeke goes off and has like 120. Depends. If he breaks one, that yardage will be there, but I'm going with the Cowboys. Norm, your thoughts on this game? Who do you like in the player of the game, if you will, for this matchup, for the Sunday night matchup?
Yeah, this one here this one warrants a $100 bet. I like the Rams at home to win outright. Screw the points. They're going to win this game. I like the Rams at home. The question is, what does Mike McCarthy change for the Cowboys? We know the Cowboys have the talent. It's been there the last 3 years. We keep blaming Jason Garrett, or is it Dak? We go back and forth. And I don't know what the answer is, and we're going to have to find out through this season. McCarthy's a great coach. What does he change? Do they focus more on the run? Is it all about Zeke? I'm really anxious to see how CeeDee Lamb. I'd love to see him come out and just light it up. I got my eyes on a lot of these rookie wide receivers in Week 1. But I do like the Rams at home. Here's the key to that game, though. What's his name? Goff is a complete play-action type quarterback. If they get the line moving and everyone's going on the fake, this guy is so accurate down the field, and he still has his weapons to throw to. And I do think the Rams will establish the run of some sort. So that's why I like the Rams winning this game. It's going to be close. It's going to be a one-score game, but I'll take the Rams at home, and I'm putting a hundo on it.
Really? And he's confident. I need to start talking to my brother Norman. We need to do a little business if he's feeling good about it. That game is tough, man. That's a tough game. That's a tough game. I'm scared, and he's feeling it. He's feeling it. Myself, I've been hearing him say it all day. I wouldn't touch this game, but if he's feeling confident, I might run with him. I got to talk to him after the show, Sports City. Okay, so the next matchup I have for Monday Night Football, as you know, since the week kicks off, we have 2 games on Monday night. This is the best part about Monday Night Football is Week 1. The first matchup is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we talked about at the beginning of the show, going into MetLife Stadium up against the New York Giants. The Steelers in New Jersey, as if people don't know, even though the New York Giants, they play in New Jersey. The Steelers are favored by 5.5 in New Jersey. This is a really tough situation. I'm going to say Steelers because I'm looking at the spread. Something's up. Something is really fishy. I'm going to go Ben. I'm going to say Ben is the guy, but I'm not comfortable. I want to see what happened with Saquon, like where Saquon going to be at in this game, and if they try to show updates on Danny Dimes and his off-season workout and how much he's worked out. Like, for him to be a quarterback, he got jacked to be his size. He put on 15 pounds of muscle and working and stuff, so I want to see what he's up to. Hopefully that he can help the Giants team get better. Him and Golden Tate are going to have to work on their chemistry, but I don't think that they can get it done, especially looking at this spread. It's something questionable for them to be home and almost giving up a touchdown on the line. Your thoughts on this game, Norm? Who do you like and the player of the game as well?
Yeah, this is a game you don't bet on this game. There's too many unknowns. We don't know what Pittsburgh's going to look like. We definitely don't know what's up with the Giants. I mean, obviously the Giants should feature Saquon Barkley, but, if that's all you got, the Pittsburgh should stack the box and stop that. So what are we left with? What's going on? This is a game where I think turnovers are going to be involved, and you can never bet on turnovers or bank on them. One old gambler taught me, if you have 2 shit teams, always take the under. And I've done that throughout the years, and I don't know, I'd win, I'd say, probably about 45% of the time. It's gambling, guys. But I would take the under on this game just because I think both teams are not that good. They both have a lot of talent, but what are they as a team? Can they put it together? And it's Week 1. I don't know what's going to happen here. So for the sake of just making a pick, I will take the home team plus the points, but I really don't know what's going to happen in this game. So I'll take Giants plus 6.
So are you taking are you taking Steelers to win outright though?
No, I'm taking the Giants plus 6. Yeah. So as far as
Steelers to win outright, but Giants to cover.
But not even that.
Is what you're saying.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won. I really have no skin on this game, and I ain't touching it just for the sake of filling out the card. I'll take the Giants plus 6. I can't even give you a score, but I would take the under.
Okay. Sports City, I got caught up mute again and talking while I was letting James in, and I'm up here running my mouth, and I'm on mute. So from the northern region of the New York State, Mr. Controversy James is in the building. James Greenwood, welcome to the Brunch. How are you feeling this afternoon?
I'm feeling great, DP. It's a day I didn't think was going to come, but football is back, and I cannot wait to see today's games. I'm taking the Steelers to win. Ben Roethlisberger's back. That's the biggest thing that I can say about the Steelers. Ben is a complete game changer compared to Duck and just the scrubs that they have behind him. So and the biggest, so you can't count on turnovers, but when we're talking about Danny Dimes, his biggest weakness is his fumbleitis issues, and the New York Giants offensive line has not improved to the level that they need to in order for that to be mitigated. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, but he coughs up the ball into the carpet way too much for me to feel comfortable with the Giants against a upper tier AFC team. So I'm going to take. Not only am I taking the Giants, or I'm not Giants. I'm not only am I taking the Steelers, but I'm taking the Steelers to cover. If we're keeping track of that this year.
Oh, we're on it now. Now that everybody's doing something, I will stop trying to be the humble guy and not doing it. So it's like I can't be missing in action. Especially I go to Vegas every damn year, so I gotta get involved. I can't run. I only do it when I'm out there. Lastly, for the nightcap on Monday night, it's the Tennessee Titans up against the Denver Broncos. James, I'll let you set it off first. Who do you like in this matchup, and who's the player of the game as well?
So this is going to be really interesting to see. I think the recent injuries to the Denver Broncos are going to be a huge factor in this game. Cortland Sutton is banged up. Even if he does end up to play, he's not going to be at 100%. And losing Von Miller for the entire season is going to be a huge deal, especially at such short notice for this particular game. So I'm going with the Tennessee Titans in this one, and I think that A.J. Brown is going to have a big game this week. Mostly because they're going to have to focus more heavily on keeping Derrick Henry in line. And on top of that, they don't have Von Miller to pressure Ryan Tannehill nearly as much as that defense is used to doing. So that will give A.J. Brown a better chance to get open and break off some huge plays. So I'm going to take Tennessee. And A.J. Brown is my guy.
Okay, Norm, who do you like in this matchup, Tennessee or Denver? Denver's at home. That's a Mile High Stadium or Empower Field at Mile High. And who's the player of the game as well?
Yeah, I like Tennessee -3, and I'm actually surprised the line's that low. I thought we'd see this one a little bit higher, but they are on the road. It is week 1, so just roll with the Tennessee -3. Really unfortunate for Denver on the Von Miller thing. They drafted Bradley Chubb, 2 years ago. The guy came on the scene, was doing well, then he got injured. And, when you get both your ends working at a high rate, that's when your defense can really make strides. And for Von Miller to go down like that, not only is he a leader in the locker room, but now it just changes everything. They'll roll chips and double teams to Chubb's side, and I just don't think you have an effective defense. So really unfortunate for them. It's a bummer. I hate seeing injuries to marquee players like that. But this game's going to be all about, obviously, Derrick Henry, and what's coming at you. Can you stop it? And then I want to see what Vrabel dials up as far as decoy with Henry. And I don't really know the pieces that Tennessee has over there. Nothing jumps out to me. So I'm just going to roll with player of the game is going to be Derrick Henry, because whether he gets 30 carries or not, he's going to be the whole decoy that creates for that whole offense. So I like Tennessee -3.
Okay. We have a clean sweep here. I'm going with Tennessee as well to take care of business up against the Broncos. Just like James said, I wanted to allude to that as well. Von Miller potentially being out for the season. That's brutal for the Denver Broncos team as they're trying to rebuild too. So this is crazy in itself. I think that there could be, that shock value where the Broncos are at home and make this a game. But I like my grandmother, right? She's from the South. She's from North Carolina, but she has a heavy country draw, right? One of my cousins that, stay around my grandmother a lot, she can't really say his full name, but she said, Dirk. She's trying to say Derek, but she's saying it like Dirk. But she's saying Derek real quick. Derek is who they're going to have to stop, period, man. This dude is a grown man playing with kids in the league. Like, I don't even mean to call these grown men kids, but, oh, my goodness, when he runs the ball. This guy, it didn't even matter who was the quarterback last year. Just give him the ball and watch out, man. This is going to be tough for the Broncos to have to deal with this guy. I'm going with the Titans to win this one. I think they cover. This might be something to touch, especially with them being Monday Night Football and everybody's watching. So I'm going with the Titans on that. James, if you want, we got a little bit of time. I want to get you. If you want to get your picks in quickly, I can do this quick with you to get picks in. Colts, Jags.
I'm taking the Colts by big.
Seahawks, Falcons.
I don't like the Seahawks on the road, but I like them a lot more than the Falcons, even at home. So I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Wow, both of you. You and Norm went with the Seahawks. I went Falcons. These are your teams, the Jets and the Bills.
Bills big.
Yeah, I think we all went Bills there. Bears, Lions.
The injury report does not look good for Detroit, but I'm going to take them anyway.
Yeah, so Galladay's out.
Galladay is out. Okuda is also not playing, so
yeah,
it's going to be But I can never bet on Mitchell Biscuits to do anything in this league. I can't trust him to do anything. So I'm going to continue to go with Detroit in spite of those injury report problems.
Packers, Vikings.
I am going with the Pack. It's going to be a closer game than people think.
Dolphins, Patriots.
I am going to go with the Patriots.
Oh, I was about to say, whoa, now, the Eagles or the Washington football team?
Eagles.
Your Raiders up against the Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, this is my upset this week. So but definitely Panthers.
So you think the Panthers is an upset at home?
Yep. Vegas has got them at +3.
Right,
at home.
Yeah. Interesting enough. Browns, Ravens.
I am going to take the Ravens.
Chargers, Bengals.
Chargers.
And I went Bengals there. Wow. And Brady or Breeze? This is the game of the day.
I'm taking Breeze this time. I'm going to take the Saints.
I think we all take the Saints right there. And the Cardinals and the Niners.
This is another game that's a lot closer than people think, but I'm going to stick with the Niners. But this is going to be I don't know what the spread. I don't know what the spread is, but the spread is
6.5, wasn't it?
6.5.
So
I would take.
Norm's seen like 3 different spreads, right? Norm on this game is the one you've seen 3 of them, right?
No, that was the. Was it this one? No, I think that was a different game. But this one, there's 2 different spreads. I see a 7 and I see a 6.5.
Okay.
I would take the Cardinals to cover, assuming they're the ones.
Yeah, if you had a spread at 7, I'd buy that down by half a point, and I like the 6.5 spread.
Yeah,
James, I gotta bring.
Yep.
I gotta bring him to Vegas with me. He coming with me. I gotta get him out there.
Yeah, but no, I'm 100% on that spread. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. We got time, but it gives us good time. And the last one until we caught up is the Sunday night game, Cowboys-Rams.
I expect Tyler Higbee to have a huge game in this game, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Cowboys. So the Cowboys are going to win, but Higbee is going to show a lot of people what he's about in this game because Dallas is notoriously bad at tight end coverage.
Okay, so there we have it. We have our week 1 pick in. check us out. I think, normally you guys taking flight tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not sure when they'll be back. I think it's tomorrow. Hopefully they'll get their picks in and hear what we got going on. I need a plug, close out from both of you. I'll start with you first, James. Thank you for stopping by, getting in the building, and grabbing a dish. Give me a plug, close out, anything you'd like to promote as well. Have we shut down the brunch for week one?
It's great that football's back. I am going to make a concerted effort to get back here for the entire episode next week. Now that I know that we're going to be back and doing this year long, I'm down for it. Can't wait. See you guys next week.
All right, and Mr. Arendis, give me your shout out for Kyler Murray. Since you don't like him.
Yeah, you know, hallelujah. Yeah, hallelujah. Football's back. You know, if you want to judge me on my calls, my big factors are, can Kyler Murray hang in the NFL? I want to see Baker Mayfield's nosedive. I just don't think he's NFL caliber. So you can hold me to those. And my upset special of the week is I like Washington at home. So if I'm 3 for 3, I'll look like a genius. If I'm 0 for 3, I'm just same old Norm. But glad to have football back.
Oh, I'll be in the show either tomorrow or Tuesday to let you know, especially about if the Washington, I was going to say the Redskins quickly, too. It was going to roll right off my tongue. If the Washington football team could knock off the Eagles, and there's going to be a lot of questions for me if the Eagles do lose that game. I really want to see how that goes down. I'm really holding your feet to the fire on that game. I just want to see what you see, let alone, James, who is the starter for that game? Is it Alex Smith or is it Haskins?
So as far as I know, Haskins is getting the start for Washington.
Okay.
I don't believe Smith is quite ready to go yet. So.
Yeah, because that's what we were wondering who was going to get the nod. So it's more or less Dwayne Haskins. So if Haskins could pull this off in a division rivalry up against Carson Wentz, this is something to see. I'm just happy. Like I said, it's the most wonderful time of the year, Sports City, and football is here. This is that end of summer, fall, classic, kickoff, everything's here. And it's crazy that the NBA is going on at the same time. And hopefully the Clippers can get it done so we can really see the battle of the late kickoff, man. On that note, tell a friend that it's the Chefs again. And if they don't know, now they know.